As countries take tighter measures to contain the spread of COVID-19, self-quarantine and temporary business closings may affect normal food practices. Healthy people and people with symptoms of an acute respiratory illness are asked to stay. Restaurants and takeaway options are restricted in some countries, and fresh products are less available. Good nutrition is critical to health, especially during times when the immune system may have to fight back. Limited access to fresh food can affect the ability to maintain a healthy and varied diet and potentially lead to increased consumption of highly processed foods, which tend to be high in fat, sugar and salt, but this can continue even with few and limited ingredients by eating a healthy diet. Staying physically active is also important for optimal health. To help healthy people stay physically active at home, the WHO Regional Office for Europe has developed a specific guide to quarantine times, which includes tips and examples of doing exercises at home. General tips. Make an arrangement, take just what you need. Numerous instances of overbuying have been noticed all through the WHO European region. Frenzy purchasing conduct may have adverse results, for example, an increment in food costs, overconsumption of food and an inconsistent dissemination of items. It is hence essential to think about your own requirements, just as those of others. Evaluate what you as of now have at home and plan your admission. You may want to buy a lot of food varieties, yet make a point to consider and use what is as of now in your storeroom, just as food sources with more limited time span of usability. This way you can keep away from food squander and permit others to get to the food they need. Be key about the utilization of fixings, focus on new items. Utilize new fixings and those that have a more limited time span of usability first. In the event that new items, particularly natural products, vegetables and decreased fat dairy items keep on being accessible, focus on these over non-perishables. Frozen products of the soil can likewise helpfully be utilized throughout longer timeframes and regularly have a comparative supplement profile to new food sources. To keep away from food squander, you may think about freezing any extras for another supper. Get ready home-prepared suppers. During ordinary day-by-day life, numerous people frequently don't have the opportunity to get ready home-prepared dinners. Investing longer times of energy at home may now offer the likelihood to make those plans you recently didn't have the opportunity to make. Numerous solid and scrumptious plans can be found on the web. Exploit the abundance of unreservedly accessible data and analysis with the fixings you can get to, yet make sure to remember the standards for smart dieting offered in this direction. A few instances of sound plans with available fixings may likewise be found underneath. Exploit food conveyance choices. Albeit home-prepared dinners ought to be focused on, a few urban communities and nations have rather progressed conveyance frameworks for fixings and prepared suppers, and numerous organizations are currently beginning to offer this help. A few arrangements incorporate contactless choices, where no human collaboration is required, subsequently supporting self-isolate and seclusion measures. These ought to be focused on, especially from dependable organizations following exacting food cleanliness necessities. For food conveyance and transportation, it is imperative to guard food at temperatures under 5 degrees Celsius or over 60 degrees Celsius. Remembering that these administrations may be overpowered, you should consider investigating what is accessible in your space. Know about divide sizes. It tends to be hard to get divide measures right, particularly when cooking without any preparation. Being at home for broadened periods, particularly without organization or with restricted exercises, can likewise prompt indulging. Look for direction through your public food put together dietary rules with respect to what comprises solid segments for grown-ups, and be careful that little youngsters will require more modest bits. Follow safe food taking care of practices. Food handling is an essential for food security and a sound eating regimen. Just protected food is quality food. While getting ready nourishment for yourself as well as other people, it is critical to follow great food cleanliness practices to stay away from food pollution and foodborne sicknesses. The vital standards of good food cleanliness include: keep your hands, kitchen and utensils clean. Separate crude and prepared food, particularly crude meat and new produce. Cook your food all together. Guard your food at temperatures, either under 5 degrees Celsius or over 60 degrees Celsius, and utilize safe water and crude material. By following these 5 key proposals for more secure food, you can forestall numerous basic foodborne illnesses. Cut off your salt admission. The accessibility of new food varieties may diminish, and it might thusly get important to depend more on canned, frozen or prepared food varieties. A large number of these food sources contain undeniable degrees of salt. WHO suggests burning through under 5 grams of salt each day. To accomplish this, focus on food varieties with decreased or no additional salt. You may likewise consider washing canned food sources like vegetables and beans, to eliminate a portion of the overabundant sodium. Know that salted food sources frequently contain undeniable degrees of sodium as well. In numerous nations, 50 to 75% of the salt admission comes from the food sources we eat, as opposed to what we add ourselves. Given that you may be burning through enough salt as of now, abstain from adding additional salt when preparing and to your suppers at the table. Trial with new or dried spices and flavors for added flavor, all things being equal. Cut off your sugar dependency. WHO suggests that in a perfect world under 5% of complete energy consumption for grown-ups should come from free sugars, around 6 teaspoons. On the off chance that you hunger for something sweet, new organic product ought to consistently be the need. Frozen natural products, canned organic products in juice instead of syrup, and dried natural products with no additional sugar are likewise acceptable choices. At the point when other sweet choices are picked, guarantee that they are low in sugar and devour little bits. Watch out for low-fat choices, as these are regularly high in added sugars. Cut off the measure of sugar or nectar added to food sources and try not to improve your refreshments. Cut off your fat absorption. WHO prescribes restricting complete fat admission to under 30% of all-out energy consumption, of which close to 10% should come from soaked fat. To accomplish this, choose cooking strategies that require less or no fat, for example, steaming, barbecuing or sautéing as opposed to fricasseeing food varieties. If necessary, utilize limited quantities of unsaturated oils like rapeseed, olive or sunflower oil to cook food varieties. Incline toward food varieties that contain solid wellsprings of unsaturated fats, like fish and nuts. To restrict immersed fats, cut back overabundance excess from meat and poultry and pick skinless choices. Decrease food sources like red and greasy meats, margarine and full-fat dairy items, palm oil, coconut oil, strong shortening and fat. Stay away from trans fats however much as could reasonably be expected. Peruse sustenance names to guarantee that halfway hydrogenated oils are not recorded in the fixings. In the event that food marks are not accessible, stay away from food varieties which ordinarily contain trans fats like handled and singed food sources, similar to donuts and heated products, including rolls, pie outsides, frozen pizzas, treats, saltines and margarines that incorporate halfway hydrogenated fat. If all else fails, insignificantly handled food varieties and fixings are better decisions. Devour sufficient fiber. Fiber adds to a sound stomach-related framework and offers a drawn-out sensation of completion, which forestalls gorging. To guarantee a sufficient fiber admission, intend to incorporate vegetables, natural product, beef, and food varieties in all dinners. Whole grains food sources incorporate oats, earthy colored pasta and rice, quinoa and entire wheat bread and wraps, instead of refined grain food varieties like white pasta and rice, and white bread. Stay hydrated. Great hydration is essential for ideal well-being. At whatever point accessible and okay for utilization, faucet water is the best and least expensive beverage. It is additionally the most practical, as it creates no waste, contrasted with filtered water. Drinking water rather than sugar-improved refreshments is a straightforward method to restrict your admission of sugar and abundance calories. To upgrade its taste, new or frozen organic products like berries or cuts of citrus natural products might be added, just as cucumber or spices like mint, lavender or rosemary. Try not to drink a lot of solid espresso, solid tea, and particularly stimulated sodas and caffeinated drinks. These may prompt lack of hydration and can adversely affect your resting designs. Keep away from liquor, or if nothing else lessen your liquor utilization. Liquor is just a brain adjusting and reliance creating substance, unsafe at any level burned through. However, it likewise debilitates the resistant framework. In this manner, liquor use and particularly weighty use sabotages your body's capacity to adapt to irresistible infection, including COVID-19. It is suggested that liquor overall be stayed away from, yet particularly when in self-isolate. As a psychoactive substance, liquor likewise influences your psychological state and dynamic and makes you more helpless against hazards, like falls, wounds, or savagery when under isolate with another person. Liquor utilization is additionally known to expand indications of melancholy, tension, dread and frenzy, manifestations that can increase during confinement and self-isolate. Devouring liquor is anything but a decent way of dealing with stress, neither in the short nor long haul, in spite of the fact that you may believe that it will help you manage pressure. Liquor additionally makes certain meds less compelling, while at the same time expanding the intensity and poisonousness of others. Try not to burn through liquor in mix with torment prescription, as liquor will meddle with your liver capacities and might cause major issues, including liver disappointment. By no means should you devour any sort of alcoholic items as a preventive or treatment measure against COVID-19. Liquor is definitely not a vital piece of your eating routine and not piece of a sound way of life and ought to along these lines not be on your shopping list. Appreciate family suppers. The social separating related with the COVID-19 flare-up has implied that numerous families are investing more energy at home, which gives new freedoms to share suppers together. Family dinners are a significant chance for guardians to be good examples for smart dieting, and for reinforcing family connections. Expanded time at home during this period may likewise introduce new freedoms to include kids in cooking quality food sources, which can assist them with obtaining significant fundamental abilities that they can convey into adulthood. Allowing kids to pick what vegetables to remember for your dinner may urge them to eat them at the table. While including kids in cooking, it is imperative to keep suppers straightforward and to show youngsters appropriate food handling, counting hand washing, cleaning surfaces and staying away from utilization of certain crude fixings.